Welcome to the first Death Valley Driver audio video review, where we'll be reviewing the very first Death Valley Driver ever written. This one entitled Anticristo, Mexico's Ultimate Monster Heel, and Other Stuff I Saw and Heard This Week. All of it is written by Dean Rasmussen, narrated by Phil Ripa. Howdy! It was a crappy week for wrestling outside the ring this week with the Liger and Sasuke news, but I'm dwelling on that in Mike's e-zine, so I'll yammer about how great things were in the ring this week, most of which was domestic, which is super cool, and the usual crap about what I saw on tape this week. I watched 12 hours of WWO wrestling on tape from Lucha Maestro Dam's Lawley. Dave warned me about WWO, about it being an EMLL weak sister independent promotion inhabited by washed up old guys, but hey, I'm a freak. Sometimes a man has to have his lucha libre. Anyway, WWO is Rey Mysterio Sr.'s promotion that competes in the bitterly contested Baja LA territory. I think this is why WWO gets such a bad rap. It is compared to Conan's insane AAA promotion and also took the place of AAA on a lot of TV stations. So the seeds of bitterness were sown, and it's probably unfair malalignment germinated. Being a native Virginian and not influenced by the bitter rivalry of the promotional feud, I'm guessing I can give an unbiased view of Ray Sr.'s August promotion. I tried to forget about the Tijuana handhelds I have for a moment. There are a lot of really great wrestlers on these tapes, including my fave Silver King and Ultimo Dragon. The problem is that since 95% of the matches were trios, so you'd get one great worker in with 3 green local guys and 2 awful old guys. This also leads to some real weird wrestling. Some prime examples were Ultimo Dragon doing comedy spots with a 300-year-old Exotico, and then 5 minutes later putting on a lucha clinic with Negro Casas in the same match. The weirdest thing I've ever seen in wrestling also occurred during the first tape. There was this wrestler called Anticristo with a goat's head on a pole and truly freaky mask. They are interviewing him in English, I guess to attract the gringo crowd, and he says in broken English, "Antichrist is the best. I am Antichrist, and I am number 1. Then the announcer said something in Spanish, and Anticristo grabs the mic and yells, "I am number 1! Antichrist is number 1! Not God, but me!" I swear I thought I was going to laugh until I died. I showed it to Cliff when he came over to watch Hog Wild, and he was actually crying from laughing so hard. Definite answering machine fodder. Then he, of course, wrestled a trios match where his partner was Chavo Guerrero. Does Eddie know who his brother is consorting with? And they wrestle, of course, Hayabusa. Hayabusa is with Onita Jr., who I'd never seen but was pretty okay, and Ultraman, thus the FMW connection. Then the rest of the 4 months I have, the Dark One disappears. I guess having done his job of using wrestling as a vehicle to establish Satan's earthly kingdom. Oh yeah, the Beast is a crappy wrestler. The best matches were Silver King, Super Astro, Dandy teamed together. Silver King and Super Astro rule it, and Dandy can't do much anymore, but didn't get in the way. Super Astro is amazing for such a pudge. I love his plancha diving shoulder block onto the floor. The best guys I've never seen before were El Solitario, Solar, and Angel Blanco. They also had a match where Apollo Dantes wrestled face, which was strange to me. When did he turn? I finally saw El Brazo de Plata. God, he's awesome. I love any real fat guy who can move around that much. The best guys who were too old to be really great but could still work were Atlantis, who was actually still pretty good, Fishman, who is still a heat machine, and Ray Sr., who can still get around pretty well. I hope I never see Mocho Cota again. In summary, WWO, more weird than good. This WCW AAA thing is delivering. There were 2 great matches and 1 really good match for free involving AAA luchadors, the best being the too short Ultimo Dragon Rey Mysterio match on Nitro. Ultimo ruled it so hard. I'm glad they let him go to it at the expense of the champion, who had subdued match in comparison. UD is wrestling Malenko Thursday like I keep hearing about, though it sucks that it is at the expense of Psychosis's elbow injury. The Mysterio-Malenko match on the Pro Saturday morning was pretty choice, with Mysterio selling most of the match. Rey's becoming a very complete wrestler very quickly in this new environment of the New Japan AAA War Axis, and I hope they would get Juventud in there already. I was glad to see Psychosis get the win finally on TV as he carried the very green Prince Iaukea to a decent match. I await the Psychosis push with bated breath, and they definitely need to sign Ultimo Dragon already. The new WCW New Japan tournament next month looks pretty pathetic except for the Flair Fujinami match, which I gotta love for sentimental reasons. The Muto Regal match would be interesting, but both of these guys aren't afraid to be the laziest workers with talent on earth, so I'm not getting my hopes up. I can't remember who Shinya Hashimoto is kicking the lungs out of. I hope Scott Hall. I wish they would have brought over some of the WCW young guys and had them go at it with the UFI and New Japan Young Punks. Alex Wright needs to get a dose of that super stiff style because by the time he gets to prominence, the UFI shoot style mutated with New Japan mat style will be the common style for the weight class, I would predict. Plus, it would give all these young guys something to look forward to instead of the endless drone of jobbing to AAA and New Japan acquisitions. I don't know. I think I'd be into a Kidman Takiwa match, despite the hellish beating our boy Billy would take. I now must watch 6 hours of FMW from Saints Phil and Dan along with a batch of AJW, so I'll fill you all in on that and whatever else arrives. Naniwa, Dean Rasmussen, Ultimo Maniac.